And here comes another rendition of Erratic Gamers. It's been like, what, fucking 3 months since our first review?
I think it was about 6. I don't know. How long had you guys been waiting?
Yeah, like they can fucking answer us. Forever! Anyways, what you just heard was a arrangement of the opening theme to Tales of Graces F, which is the game we're reviewing today, by Dr. Vincent Trin, who didn't play the game like we did.
So he's probably not going to be in this review.
Little fucker. Anyways, today we're going to talk about a little game from Bandai Namco called Tales of Graces F, which is part of the Tales series, which is a pretty big RPG series that started in Japan. You play any Tales games, Steve?
No, I'm not actually a fan of any of the Tales series, but this one, I have to say, is a very good one. Max, he told me I should play it, and I was like, at first, I don't want to play this, but I gave it a shot anyways, but, right now I really like it.
Yeah, because you're a faggot. Anyway. But yes. What I always found unique about the Tales game was that each game has its... Oh, fuck you. Anyways, each game was its own unique feel, meaning each game was really different in its own way. And the battle system kind of evolved over the years. If anyone remembers or recognizes any Tales games, the gameplay is usually side-scrolling 2D battle system with RPG elements.
Which is kind of gay, because I don't like the fact that you had to run around, beat up enemies, and you'd have to combo them if you want to actually, kill them, which is kind of gay.
You do that every time in a fighting game. What do you mean it's gay?
Have you seen Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 13? All you did was mash the X button. It's hecka easy, right? I prefer that game over this one.
What the fuck?
No, dude.
I'm gonna kill you. Did you just say what I think you just said?
Final Fantasy!
But hey, you prefer Tales of Graces F system better, right?
Yeah.
Steve, how you disappoint me. But at least you like this game. Anyways, let's get into it. Story. Makes about as much sense as any other Japanese RPG story. Let's see. You start out as a little kid named Asbel with his wimpy ass little brother named Hubert. And they're basically sons of this big head honcho of a little village. Lant Village, I think it was called it. Which is also their last name.
Yeah.
And you basically start out as two little kids, and dumb little kids too, because they want to go into a monster-infested garden to see some flowers. It's like the pussiest shit I've seen a couple of boys say, but whatever. It's
man, I bet if you were kids, you'd probably want to go there too.
Let's go see some flowers and beat up monsters. Fuck.
Hey man, they're trying to get some experience. Okay? Let the boys do what they want.
But yeah, eventually they beat some monsters, and when they're at the garden, they meet a girl, a little girl named Sophie, who...
I thought it was Sophia.
It was Sophie.
Whatever.
The game you've been playing. Anyway.
Dude, it's been 6 months?
Fuck you. You can thank Vincent Trin for that. Anyways, they meet Sophie on this garden hill, and the girl, as you may have guessed, is an amnesiac. She doesn't remember anything about herself, what her name is, what this world is. And the two boys, decided to take her back to the village, where they meet their other friends, a little frail girl named Sharia, and
they meet a king, a prince.
They meet a prince named Richard, who I swear to God is like the most pompous little douchebag I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, after that, and that's about as far as we can go without really spoiling the plot for the game. But those are your characters so far. Asbel, who is the leader, is a spry little kid who... Alright, the first thing we gotta tell you guys is the game is split into many arcs. The first arc you're gonna play in the beginning is when the characters are children, and eventually you get to a point where they grow up, and that's when the real game starts rolling. The childhood arc really is just like set some groundwork for the plot and then show you some tutorials for how to play the game.
But really, I kind of think that the child arc was kind of, it was very long. I didn't really like it because all you did was walk around, complete quests, do what the story wants you to do, but it's really time consuming. It takes about 2 hours to finish before you actually get to the real meat of the game.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, it's stretched on almost forever, but yeah,
that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the characters. First is Asbel, who's the leader, and he eventually grows up to be a knight, and he's the typical brave hero who is on a quest to protect and save people, and yeah.
Most hero.
I gotta say, this guy's a pretty cookie cutter hero. I mean,
he's gay. That's it.
Fuck
okay?
it.
He's like every other hero. He's like every other hero.
I'm not going so far as saying he's gay, but let's just say he's not as interesting as the other Tales heroes have been. And compared to something like Tales of Vesperia, I found that game has a much more interesting main character.
But that's Tales of Vesperia. We're talking about races. That game sucked.
Yeah. And now we get to Hubert, his brother, who is a wimpy little kid at first, but let's say this kid becomes a much more likable character later on.
No, he just becomes...
Because he's a jerk. Then there's Sharia, the frail little girl, who also changes a lot when she grows up.
Guess what she is? The healer.
Who, by RPG standards, she has the thing for the main character, meaning she wants his dick. But, whatever. Then we get to Malik? Yeah, Malik, who is Asbel's knight instructor, who is possibly the manliest RPG character I've ever seen in my life.
Well, yeah, he's just a man. That's it. That's all I can say about him.
Yeah, your enthusiasm about this game is just inspiring.
Well, I'm sorry. It's been like 6 months. I've told you.
Okay, now that we got the characters out of the way, we have to get to the graphics and gameplay. What do you think of the graphics in this game?
It was, it was okay, I guess. It was more of like an anime, more than a game. Kind of like Asura's Wrath, except Asura's Wrath is more of, cutscene based, and
Yeah, I see what you mean. But the Tales series have always had this kind of anime feel to it, and when they finally went 3D, they kept to that theme by going cel shaded, like with Tales of Vesperia. I really liked the graphics in that game, and because everything was really, very polished, and when you look at it, it's almost like a blend of 3D and 2D animation at the same time. And then you go to this game, which it's kind of weird what they did with the graphics here. Like, they made it feel more anime than usual. I don't know how you describe it.
That's only during cutscenes, like when you try to escape from a ship or something, or from like a planet, I guess.
No. I mean, like, even in gameplay wise, like during the 3D cutscenes, it's like their eyes are pretty big, and I don't know. It's like reminds me of something like Xenosaga 1, where the art style was really anime.
Yeah.
And some of you might be turned off by that, but I played too many JRPGs at this point to feel anything for it. I've grown numb to this.
Yeah, I don't like the Tales series, so I don't have much to say.
Oh, come on. Anyways. Gameplay. Possibly the best thing about this game, because the gameplay is really fun. Now, what's different about this game that sets it aside from other Tales games is that instead of the 2D platform system where you can only move in a 2D plane and attack enemies in such a way. Now it's an entire 3D field where there's still a 2D lane, but only, well, when you stand in one place during battle and walk toward, then you're stuck in a straight lane. But if you hold down the L2 button, or was it the R2? I don't remember. You can actually free move and move around freely in the environment in a 3D manner, which makes battle a lot more easier. And they added a thing to this game called the dodge system, and the CC system, where CC is basically how many moves you can pull in one go before you have to guard and charge up your energy again.
So basically, it's like action points. Did you guys ever play Cross Edge? It's kind of like that. You have a certain amount of points. Your skills take a certain amount of those points, and if you run out, you can't do anything else.
But there's a way to replenish them, though. You have to guard for until it charges all the way up, or that. Now, here's what I like. They added, unlike other Tales games, where really the only way you can avoid damage was to either guard or just take it. You can actually dodge enemy attacks now, and when you dodge, you can actually dodge roll right behind the enemy and to do a sneak attack if you dodge at the right time. And if you dodge at the exact moment the attack hits you, you can actually get a bonus for your action points, meaning the game rewards you for timing your dodges right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good thing. I mean, why not? You dodged it, you got it.
And then the combat itself is pretty fun. Basically, think of it as an action RPG of sorts. This time, you got these A arts and then these B arts. A arts are basically your normal attacks. And if you point the analog stick at a certain direction, you'll do a different A art with each direction. B arts are basically like your spells and elemental attacks. B arts you'll be needing to defeat bosses as such, because A arts aren't exactly enough.
I don't know what to say. I mean, sure, it gives you two types, but I just stick to using A arts rather than B arts because...
Well, the thing you gotta remember is that this game used to be a Wii game, and I think the simplistic combat controls were to accommodate the Wii. And then it just transferred over to the PS3 the same way. That's why the controls felt very simplistic. But I like it because it's simplistic. There's a lot less stuff to worry about, and it's still tense during battles.
Well, I've never played the Wii version before, nor have I seen any gameplay of it, so I wouldn't know how different the two games were. So, I don't have much to say.
But that's for combat. As for maneuverability in the world, let's just say that...
Very unique. It's kind of like... If you guys played Final Fantasy IX, you had to get, what was it? Skill points, I guess? Yeah. AP. And then if you get enough AP for one skill, you mastered it and you can keep it without having to have that item. Tales of Graces takes it from there.
Yeah. What he means is, Tales of Graces F has these things called titles, which is kind of like achievements that a character can unlock story-wise or by accomplishing something great, like defeating 10 enemies or something. But what's different is that you can actually equip these achievements, and when you equip them, you can actually, and win battles with them, you can actually earn skill points which level up the title, and the more you level up the title, the more skills you get from it. So basically kind of like the skill learn system you get from accessories back in Final Fantasy IX, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. You get enough skill points, you get the skill, and then as you keep going, because in every title, like he says, there's 5 skills to learn. If you master all of them, then you get to the mastery level, and then there's another level after that, which helps you master the title, which basically makes the effects times 2.
Yeah, and that really adds another layer of depth to this game, whereas it would have been simplistic without it. And that's what really makes this game even more fun for me. And as for side quests, I kind of don't like how most of the side quests in this game are like fetch or creation quests. Basically, in this game, you have this thing called an Elith mixer, which is kind of like, if you remember back in Final Fantasy 12, there was this gambit system where the game would automatically perform actions for you depending on certain conditions, like use a potion if your life gets below 60%. This game kind of has something similar to that, where if you can put certain items or food into the Elith mixer, then the food will be used during certain conditions and heal you during battle. And I don't like that system because it kind of takes control out of the player hands and just does things for you. And sometimes it's frustrating when you get an effect to work, but sometimes it doesn't. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't really work when you want it to sometimes.
Yeah, I think the Elif mixer was more of a they just added it because might as well stick something in the game. Let's see what people will think about it, and there you go.
Yeah, this game took a lot of risks with its innovations, like for one, the graphic style and the gameplay system. Now, what do you think of the
music, right?
Music overall?
The music, it's pretty unique. It's like every other Tales game. It's different, not the same, not taken from a friggin' the game before it and just changed it a little bit.
Now, if you guys didn't notice, I actually like the game Tales of Vesperia better than this game, but for Tales of Graces F, it has okay music. I mean, there's the usual J-pop opening song that's usually catchy that Tales games go with, like you just heard in the intro of our review. But I think Tales of Vesperia had a better soundtrack. But I'm not here to grade it on what I want it to be. I'm grading it on what it is. What it is, it's an okay music soundtrack. There was nothing really that I wanted to hear again and again over and over.
Well, there's the opening. That's what
there was the opening, but that was it. So, anything left to say about this game?
I told you I don't really like the Tales series, so there's not much for me to say. Sure, the gameplay took over and the story was really good, but there was some stuff I didn't like. Like, it was kind of repetitive because you just go into battle, fight monsters. Battle system was the same until you got to the future arc, which is I can't explain because it'd spoil it. But
yeah, without spoiling it, let's just say that even after you finish the game, there is a additional future arc, which is basically an epilogue chapter to the game that you can play, and that adds a lot more depth to the story. And I actually like that better than the main arc for some reason. But we won't spoil anything. But overall, the story is very, very cookie cutter, traditional RPG. Save the world, save your friends, protect people, all that. Stay alive. and what you should be buying this for is not for the story, but for the gameplay, because the gameplay itself is very innovative. It's fast paced. It's fun.
It's different from most. It's different from most Tales games because it uses CC, which isn't used in any other of the Tales series. MP is usually used.
Yeah, and while you may discount this game for its anime look and think it might have a cheesy plot, well, it kind of does, but you should give this game a try nonetheless because of the gameplay, because I don't think you'll find any other RPG out there with gameplay like this. FF13, we've talked about that. That was way too automatic of a game, meaning just press auto all the time and you win. This game actually puts control back into your hands, and I am glad for it. So, final statements?
It's better than Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2 combined, that's for sure.
I would give this game a 7.5 out of 10. Based on good gameplay, but the story didn't really capture me that much.
Since I don't like the Tales series, as you guys know, I give it an 8.3. I mean, I didn't like Tales of Vesperia. I didn't like... Well, I kind of like Tales of Abyss, but not as...
You had a higher score than me.
I know. Yeah.
He didn't like it, but he gave it a high score. Look at that, gentlemen.
Gameplay was pretty good. And story, it got me caught on. I wanted to play it more. I just never finished the future arc, so I'm kind of pretty sad.
I finished the whole game, and let me tell you, the story doesn't really pick up until the future arc. That's where all the good stuff starts happening. But there's one thing you should look forward to in this game are the skits.
Oh, the skits are pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that Tales games all have in common is the system called the skits, where it's basically when you activate it by pressing the select button, it plays these little mini scenarios through 2D portraits where the characters interact and talk to each other about certain situations or any random topic. And those are actually really funny, and those actually make me like the characters more than the plot makes them out to be, which is boring. But the skits really helped make this game a lot more lively than it is.
Yep, I have to agree. I mean, some of the skits I thought were pretty cheesy, corny, very punny. But overall, it's actually pretty unique and fun to see.
Yeah, and it helps that the voice acting in this is pretty good. Except for Asbel. I mean, what was that guy? He's... I don't think it's Asbel's voice actor's fault, but it's like, they gave him the most hammy, cheesy lines ever to say. That
Dude, it's a hero game. He has to sound as, you know...
I just wanted to slap my head every time he wanted to talk about protecting someone or some shit.
He's Asbel. He has to be the hero. He has to sound cool.
Oh, God. Anyways, that was our Tales of Grace's F review. Thanks for listening, and look forward to our next review.
Which is Left 4 Dead 2.
Left 4 Dead 2.
Finally, not in it. I'm not going to review it.
Yes, you are. Fuck you.
I don't even like the game. I can't even play it.
Fuck you. Yes, you are.
Whatever.
Alright, see you next time, folks.